Hey friends, how's it going? I hope you're all doing well today. Sit back, relax, and get ready, because today's story is going to be one of the most extraordinary and fascinating stories you've ever heard. It's about a man named Billy Milligan, a person whose life completely changed the way the world understands the human mind. His story is full of mystery, tragedy, survival, and courage. Billy grew up in Ohio, and from the very beginning, his life was complicated. His childhood was filled with abuse and fear. He was exposed to physical and psychological trauma that no child should ever endure. But Billy had an extraordinary mind, one that found a way to survive even the worst horrors. His mind created multiple personalities, each with its own distinct voice, age, and personality. These personalities weren't just different moods, they were completely separate identities, each capable of acting independently. By 1977, Billy had come under the radar of the police. Several women reported being assaulted on the Ohio State University campus. When the police finally tracked him down, Billy appeared calm, almost distant, as if his mind was somewhere else. But when questioned about the assaults, something extraordinary happened. His voice changed, his mannerisms shifted, and suddenly, he seemed to be a completely different person. Sometimes he spoke with a sharp British accent. Sometimes he sounded like a frightened child. Other times, he was strong, aggressive, and protective. The police initially thought he was pretending, but it quickly became clear that this was something completely real. Psychiatrists were brought in to evaluate Billy. What they discovered was absolutely remarkable. He wasn't acting, he actually had 24 distinct personalities. Some of the most well-known included Arthur, a highly educated and formal Englishman; Dragan, a strong and protective Yugoslav man; Danny, a frightened young boy; Christine, an 8-year-old girl who was dyslexic, and many others. Each personality had its own memories, skills, and emotional responses. Some could read and write perfectly. Others could speak foreign languages. Some were violent, some were gentle. And here's the key point: the original Billy, the core identity, often had no awareness of what the others were doing. Billy's childhood explains much of this. The abuse he experienced caused his mind to split in order to survive. Each personality carried different trauma, different fears, and different skills. This mental system allowed him to endure horrors that might have otherwise destroyed him. But the downside was serious. Some personalities committed crimes for which the real Billy could not be held accountable in the usual way.
When the case went to court, it shocked the world. This was the first time in American history that a defendant claimed, "I didn't commit these crimes, my other personalities did." The public was fascinated, horrified, and confused. The court ultimately ruled that Billy was not criminally responsible due to mental illness. Instead of prison, he was sent to psychiatric treatment, a decision that would allow him to work on integrating his fragmented mind. The therapy process was long, difficult, and fascinating. Some personalities resisted integration, others agreed to cooperate. Doctors tried various techniques to bring the real Billy to the surface. They documented how his posture, speech, handwriting, and even heart rate changed depending on which personality was in control. Over time, many of the personalities merged, some faded naturally, and others combined into new integrated identities. Living with 24 personalities was far from easy. Billy struggled with memory gaps, confusion, and feelings of guilt for actions he didn't remember committing. He had to learn about the assaults, the trial, and the media attention that had surrounded him. It was overwhelming, but eventually, he began to understand himself as a whole person again, not just a collection of separate identities, but one human being who had survived immense trauma. Billy's story teaches us incredible lessons about the human mind. Trauma can create survival mechanisms we cannot even imagine. Our minds are capable of extraordinary things, sometimes terrifying, sometimes miraculous. His story also raised questions for psychologists, psychiatrists, lawyers, and society at large. How responsible is a person when their mind is fractured? What does it mean to be a single individual? Billy's case changed the way mental health and criminal responsibility were understood forever. Even after leaving the psychiatric hospital, Billy faced challenges. The media continued to follow him, books were written, and documentaries were made. Some people believed he was faking it, others were completely convinced of his condition. Billy tried to live quietly, drawing, painting, and expressing himself through art, something that several of his personalities have been very talented at. Billy Milligan passed away in 2014, but his story remains one of the most extraordinary cases in history. It is a story of survival, trauma, identity, and resilience. He reminds us that the human mind is far more complex than most of us realize, and that every person carries stories and battles that may be invisible to the outside world. Friends, I hope you found Billy Milligan's story as fascinating as I do. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your feedback makes me really happy, and I love reading what you think. See you in the next video. Take care of yourselves, stay curious, and remember, the human mind is far more complex than we sometimes imagine.